the weddings for next year hard already. Yeah. I mean, it's just funny because I've got so many younger friends. Like, when you're 42, you think you'd be done with this shit, you know? All right. Oh, well, the Judkins thing, and you knew it in the draft. You were so big on getting him, and it was perfect with him having the contract and the legal stuff that people didn't see it. But I mean, like, literally, Judkins replaces Pacheco being a bust. You know, so we still have three. We still have three running backs, and receiver wise, I mean, I guess you have to start Trey Tucker now. But like, once Rice gets back, like, just 10 points a game, decent. Just get 4 catches for 60 yards. We're happy. Yeah, and they're throwing it. Gino, the thing is, Gino always throws for yards, man. Yeah, no, I think. Okay, I'm gonna retweet you, and I tweeted out the link already. Yep. All right, what's up, fellas? Let's go. It's friggin' Wake Up Mintzy. It's Tuesday, 4 p.m. We got a lot of stuff to get into. Got my Stella Blue, drinking my afternoon coffee as always, dude wipes, and got to pay tribute to the man, the myth, the legend, Lane Kiffin, out here because it's LSU Ole Miss week. It's my favorite week of the year, and there's never been, I don't believe, going back to Billy Cannon's famous run in like '59, this is the first time LSU and Ole Miss have met when they're undefeated because that game is usually in later October. And this one's in late September. We're joined right off the top by Tyler Moody, our good friend, another legend in my opinion. And we've got a lot of stuff to get into. What's up, Mr. Moody? How are we doing today?
What's up, brother? I'm doing really good. Just locked down a huge fight I'm now the assistant matchmaker at AKA, and I just locked down a fight with one of Marab Davalishvili's best friends for our Lake Charles card. Marab's going to come down, help promote the fight, and may jump on the broadcast with us. So we're just been putting in some work elsewhere today, and I'm telling you, it is easily the biggest fight that I've ever booked. So I'm pretty pumped about that.
Congratulations, Moody. Let's go. And
I appreciate it. Yeah.
AKA, the American Combat Alliance, awesome promotion you've been a part of for years. I know the bishops that run it. Selling out every event they have in Louisiana. They've been taking it around the South. It's continuing to grow, and I know you're passionate about it. So, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. We may be making our way out to Vegas soon too, so we're working on some things.
Hell yeah. Well, a bunch of stuff to get into from the top. Not shockingly, this time I got shade thrown at me. Usually it's of my own doing, but I got some shade thrown at me at Barstool over a contract negotiation I wasn't involved in. I don't take it like that personally, though, because when it comes to contracts and stuff, people are just trying to do what they got to do to get money. It's like business. So, there's been a lot of talk about that with Dave Portnoy on Twitter in the last couple of days and Smokes, but I just kind of take it all in stride because, I mean, I hate to sound like this, but, like, I mean, I've gone through so much up here in 5 years, Moody, that, like, I just have, like, very thick skin. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, you've had some crazy things that you have intentionally and not intentionally done, and I'll tell you what, brother, you end up in more situations than anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah. No,
At work, outside of work, it's crazy.
yeah, no, it's a lightning rod, like moth to a flame situation. But I'm not like that worried about it, Just after 2023, after that whole deal, I'm kind of immune to something. I mean, I wouldn't say immune, but like, I mean, I feel like the worst thing that can happen kind of already happened.
Can we look? I missed when I was shaving. Look at this. I
Dude,
completely bricked, brother. I've never done that before. I was hurrying to shave before the show this morning. Did the entire FFF pod. Didn't even notice it, and That is not intentional. I
That
promise
is
you.
fun.
That's
That is
not
funny though.
intentional.
That is funny. Well, bunch of stuff to get into off the top. As I said, it's LSU Ole Miss week. It's my favorite week of the year. I've been to 22 of the last 25, going back to the year 2000 when I was a senior year in high school, and I went to Ole Miss for LSU Ole Miss when I was debating going to Ole Miss. And the only ones I've missed where I missed what were the three? I missed 2011, and I missed 2016, and I missed one more, and I can't even remember what it is. But it was 19. Because I missed 2011 because that was the year that was Ole Miss's worst team ever, and LSU kneeled it with 4 minutes to go, winning 52-3. And then 2016 was my first year doing sports radio with you and me in Shreveport Bossier. I think you may have not even come into the fold at that point yet. And I was so poor because I made like $14K that year, I couldn't afford to go. And then 2019, one of my best friends had a big cancer fundraiser, so I skipped it for that. But that's it. Been to every other one. Try to always go. Was actually debating this year whether to go or not because it's so close to the marathon, dude. Moody, it's time to nitty gritty, man. We're 19 days out from the Chicago Marathon today. So that's super serious. So we're in not party mode for sure. But ultimately, had to pull the trigger on it. I'm getting down there late Thursday night. I'm there till Monday morning. Can't freaking wait. Undefeated matchup, 2:30. Best Saturday of the year in college football, too. And in sports-wise, Moody, we got the Ryder Cup this weekend. Check out Stu Feiner doing a big preview video for it. It's going to be awesome on the Golf Channel. Friend of the program, to say the least. Best friend of the program. And then you're looking at a Saturday with LSU, Ole Miss, Georgia, Alabama, and Oregon, Penn State, and there's some other good games. I mean, just monster headliners. LSU, Ole Miss is 2:30. Oregon, Penn State, and Georgia, Bama are both at night behind it. But man, what a freaking great Saturday! One of the best of the year, and the Ryder Cup. You know, we're in NFL season, and then also we got you here. We're going to talk Major League Baseball playoff update because there's some hot races going on right now. Figuring that out. This is the best sports time of the year, though. I've always said that the October, the Major League Baseball playoffs and college football and NFL are in the heart of the season. I mean, you literally can't beat it.
No, it's the best time of the year without question. I mean, I'll tell you what, I kind of was maybe talking a little noise about college football last week. It was great this weekend. I had a lot of fun watching it. So really excited for this weekend. LSU Ole Miss, still the greatest. One of the craziest things I've ever been a part of was LSU Ole Miss. Whenever Ole Miss was up, Odell Beckham ran a punt back. I think maybe that was 2011, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was 2000. I was at that game. That was 2012.
Was it 2012? Okay.
No, it was 2012 because
crazy.
That was a game so through the years, there have been so many memories because these games are always nuts. But LSU was like a 21-point favorite or something that day. But that was Hugh Freeze's first year, and Dante Moncrief, who's now back at Ole Miss as a coach on the staff, had a huge game. Bo Wallace had like a 70-yard touchdown run. Then Ole Miss was in that game fighting them. And then Odell Beckham had a play where he reversed the entire field on a punt. And I remember you said you were out for a touchdown, and LSU ended up winning like a 41. It was either like 41-35 or 41-38, something like that. And I remember you said you were outside the stadium and you could hear the roar.
We had gone to my friend's bus or trailer or whatever to indulge in some things, and the stadium went insane. I'm not kidding. The ground outside of the stadium was shaking whenever Odell ran that punt back. I mean, I'll never forget it. I mean, it was crazy. So I'm excited to see this week. Is Ole Miss for real? Is Chambliss for real? Can he deal with that LSU defense? Can the LSU offense kind of regain themselves? Because, brother, they have looked bad the first few weeks. I think it's the matchup of the week. I understand there's some other good games. In my opinion, this is the game that has the biggest playoff implications down the road. I'm excited to see if Ole Miss is for real. Beating Tulane was great, for sure. That defense is not an SEC defense. I want to see what Chambliss does this week.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. And we're talking about Trinidad Chambliss here. Unbelievable. The last 2 weeks he's had against Arkansas and Tulane, the D2 transfer from Ferris State, won a national title. Man, I think you could argue he's played like the best 2-week stretch of any quarterback since Eli Manning. And Ole Miss has had a lot of dudes through the years. Chad Kelly, Bo Wallace, Matt Corral, Jackson Dart. I mean, you're not talking about scrub quarterbacks. Hell, Dart just got announced he's going to be starting on Sunday, his first game against the Chargers for the Giants, his rookie year. But man, the thing is some of those guys could run, but I've never seen somebody that can run like Chambliss. I mean, he had 112 rushing, over 300 passing against Tulane. Against Arkansas, he had 360 passing, 60 rushing. He runs like lightning. He gets to his third or fourth read. He's got a calm head. He's thrown no picks. I mean, I literally don't believe what I've been seeing watching him. It's the craziest thing to have that as your backup quarterback. And, Austin Simmons is still rehabbing his ankle injury. It's Chambliss going against LSU. I'm sure they're going to evaluate after this on the bye. But if Chambliss beats LSU, it's his job. I mean, let's not even remotely sugarcoat it. Because if you get to 5-0, and Ole Miss is a 1.5-point favorite on DraftKings, over under, I believe, 54.5. Some funny drama earlier this week we got to jump into. Landry Kiffin, Lane's daughter, hard launching a relationship with LSU star linebacker Whit Weeks the Monday of the LSU Ole Miss game. I mean, college football, you can't make up this kind of drama. And then Lane responds on Twitter, take the over, which is hilarious. Like, what is Landry, like a spy in there trying to get the defensive signals? I mean, what is happening? I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. But last 2 years, two of the best probably 5 or 6 games in college football the last 2 years. Ole Miss 55-49 2 years ago. LSU had 700 yards of offense and lost because their defense was terrible. And they had Jaden Daniels and Neighbors and Brian Thomas. And then last year, Ole Miss just choked 26-23 in overtime. I mean, completely had the lead the whole time. Trey Harris dropped a touchdown bomb early. And, I mean, the only time LSU led, they scored a touchdown at the end of regulation to force overtime. And then Kyron Lacey, rest in peace, caught that touchdown to win. And the thing is about this series, Ole Miss is cursed in Death Valley. Hadn't won down there since 2008, but they have won 4 of the last 6 in Oxford. And the fact that it's in Oxford and with Chambliss' dual threat ability makes me feel not cocky at all, but I feel pretty good going into it. And just excited. This looks like the one game. I was going to do Ole Miss Florida in November, but I'm switching it to this. So this is probably my only Ole Miss game of the year, unless they make the playoffs, and then we'll reevaluate. So here we are. It's going to be a great weekend.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if there's any coach in college football that is willing to use his family to gain an advantage, it would probably be Lane Kiffin. I mean, he strikes me as the kind of dude that's willing to do anything it takes to win. The time is now for Ole Miss, and if he's got to get his daughter to date Whit Weeks and either get his attention, get some signs, whatever it takes, I don't put it past Lane. Obviously, that's probably not what's going on. There's a 99% chance that's not what's going on. But if anyone was going to do it, I think it might be Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, man. Well, I can't wait. Friday, hitting Oxford. I'm going to basketball practice at 1. Go see Coach Beard and the guys. That'll be fun. I'm gonna be out in the Grove early on Saturday because it's the only game I'm making. And then I got a pregame field pass, so I'm gonna go in like an hour and a half, 2 hours early, and I'm just gonna take it all in. This is this weekend. Like I said, I never miss LSU Ole Miss, and it's like a reunion of basically 90% of my relationships in the world are between these two schools. So my dad went to LSU, and I worked for ESPN Baton Rouge. So it just all comes together. I've been texting Joe Sloan, LSU offensive coordinator, who's a buddy of mine from Louisiana Tech, from when me and you used to cover Tech, and I sent him the rock, the gif of the rock. Just bring it to him, and he started laughing, which I thought was pretty funny.
I mean, it's your number 1 favorite team versus your number 2 favorite team. I mean, this is a big matchup for you. No matter what, Mintzy, you come out of here a winner. So
nobody ever wants to beat LSU more than me. It's like not even possible. Like beating LSU like makes my whole year, and so. But can't wait for that weekend. A lot of stuff to get into. First of all, some news in college football. Oklahoma star quarterback John Mateer out 3 weeks with thumb surgery. Huge news here. When you look at Oklahoma off to an undefeated start, beat Auburn and Michigan, got a great defense. I mean, really, it was looking like a sleeper in the SEC, but they have a tough schedule. Can Mateer get back in 3 weeks? How much will this affect them? But that's a bombshell on the college football newswire that just happened in the last little bit. And we'll see. Other stuff, Tuesday afternoon's like a little too late to react to Saturday stuff, but some other college football stuff. Got to mention Indiana, though. I mean, I was on Illinois and couldn't have been more wrong. 63-10, one biggest statement win of the year so far, beating the top number 12 Illinois. And now Cignetti and Indiana looking at possible another playoff berth behind Fernando Mendoza, the Cal quarterback. And then, like I said, looking ahead to this week, I mean, Oregon at Penn State, just such a rematch of the Big Ten title game. That's where game day's going. Penn State, a 3.5-point favorite at home. That one's going to be fascinating too. It's the whiteout at Penn State. So just a lot of fun stuff going on. Huge week of college football. Turn our attention to NFL. Jackson Dart announced as the starter for the Giants this week.
When did that happen?
About an hour or two ago. Adam Schefter broke it. So he played a little bit in like run packages and read options the last 2 weeks. Look, I know a lot of people thought they were going to wait. Giants would wait till week 5 so he could play the Saints and not have to deal with a tough defense like Jim Harbaugh's Chargers. I like this move by the Giants. You got to make this move now. You're 0-3. You're in a tough division with the Eagles and Commanders. You're not going anywhere. You got Cam Scatterboo, second-year tight end, Theo Johnson, one of the superstar receiver, Malik Neighbors, second year. Wan'Dale Robinson's, 4th year in the NFL? I mean, he's not old either. So you got to put him in there with that young core and just see what you got. And he's going to probably take his lumps, and they'll be good and bad. But, you got to do it. You're going to lose the locker room if you don't. The fan base wants to see it. They need new blood. So, I know it's maybe a week earlier than they thought, but I think after Sunday night when Russ threw that ball out of bounds on 4th down, you got to make this move. What do you think?
No, I mean, I like it. Eventually, you have to throw this kid into the fire. I know it's not the best matchup. I would have probably preferred to do it next week against the Saints, but at some point, you got to find out what you have. And I'll tell you who this is a really big thing for is Malik Neighbors, because Russ did not even look his way last week. I think it's a big, big momentum swing for Malik Neighbors owners, and I think Dart's going to be good. I think he's the best quarterback in this class, Mintz. I really do. And we're going to find out. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think he's the best QB in this class. I don't think the Giants are going to take a massive step because their defense is still pretty damn bad. And
their offensive
the running
line's
game's
bad.
not there.
The line's the problem.
There's a lot of questions about them, so I don't think they're going to be like a winning team, but I do think they're going to be more competitive with Jackson Dart. And eventually, you got to throw him into the fire. Why not this week?
Yeah, agreed. Some injury news out of football, just the Cowboys. I mean, CeeDee Lamb, who we had ranked as our number 1 receiver last week on the Fantasy Football Factory pod. That'll be out on Thursday. He's out, looks like 3 to 4 weeks. Killer for Dallas. This season at 1-2, and they can't stop anybody. Caleb Williams with 4 touchdowns against them. Russ threw for 450. I mean, this defense looks atrocious. And, that's just terrible news. They're hosting Green Bay on Sunday Night Football. Micah Parsons coming back. I do think George Pickens and Jake Ferguson probably benefit in fantasy, but does not benefit the Cowboys as a team. I mean, that's a terrible news.
Terrible matchup. Javonte Williams will probably catch some more balls out of the backfield. Jalen Tolbert's going to be a factor. Kalen Turpin. I mean, they're just going to have to get the ball out there. I mean, they're going to have to. Dak is the entire game's on Dak now, and to try and do that without CD is going to be that much more difficult. You should like the Packers in this game. I think everyone's going to like the Packers in this game. The Cowboys defense is not the Browns defense. I know the Packers choked that game away last week. A lot of credit to the Browns and their defense and Quinshot Judkins. The Cowboys don't have that caliber defense at all.
I think it looks like a rat game, though. I wouldn't take Green Bay. Dallas lost as a road favorite, and 90% of the public was on Dallas last week, and now everybody's going to have Green Bay in this game. I'm not saying I love Dallas. It's just a stay away from me, just the way it sets up.
I hear you.
Other NFL news, Mike Evans looks like he's going to be out a few weeks with a hamstring injury. They got to be real careful in Tampa. They're 3-0, and you got Chris Godwin coming back this week. And I just think that they're 2 games up in the division, and they have a head-to-head win over Atlanta. The rest of the division looks like dog shit. So I think if you're Tampa, I mean, you got to be real careful with Evans has had hamstring problems in the past. Even if this isn't major, I would think you set him 3 to 4 weeks.
You make sure you take care of him. If you're the Bucs right now, the way that division is shaping up, you're the clear favorite. You can win without him. You rely on Bucky. You rely on Emeka Egbuka. And then you make sure that Evans is good to go down the stretch. Evans has this kind of injury every single year. He misses games every year because of the hamstrings. Wouldn't surprise me to see it happen to him again later in the year. They got to make sure they take care of him. This is a big deal for them to make sure he's healthy in the playoffs. They can win without him. I think they can win without him. We're going to find out. But they got to make sure he's healthy. He's just such a big weapon. And he opens up everything for Egbuka. The good thing for them is they're going to get Godwin back soon.
Yeah, he's supposed to play this week.
We'll see.
They're
Yeah, is
supposed
he
to
going
play
to be
this
back this
week.
week? So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't
look,
know if he's going to
that's a
have a
big
full
boost.
snap count, but I think he's going to be back. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, I think that'll be good for Tampa. Najee Harris tore his Achilles. It was bad. Hate that for him. Marion Hampton's going to get the full workload now, though. So that's something to watch. And then also James Conner having surgery. Trey Benson taking over the role in Arizona. Benson's got to be the number one fantasy pickup this week. He's probably on rosters in a lot of leagues, but in 10-team leagues he may not be. So definitely spend some waiver wire budget on that. Some other stuff. I don't have the bag with me in here. I probably should have put it on. T-Bob and me did a video earlier about bringing the brown paper bags out in New Orleans. We're back to the 80 Saints, the paper bags, dude. 44-13, lost to Seattle, down 38-3 in the second quarter. Moody, I knew it was going to be really bad, so I'm not shocked. But, I'm at a point now where, did they win 4 games? It's really bad.
The question will be how good are they whenever Tyler Shuck takes over? Eventually that's going to happen. The same thing we're seeing with Dart taking over this week in Green Bay. Eventually the Saints are going to have to do the same thing. They know they're not going anywhere. Losing games should honestly kind of be the point right now for the Saints. I just don't think this team's going to be competitive. And I wanted to ask you this. Lifelong Saints player, leading rusher, franchise history, Alvin Kamara on contract for next season. Is there any chance that the Saints would trade away Alvin Kamara, or is he just too New Orleans at this point?
I think he's too New Orleans. It would make a ton of sense to trade him, but he just signed this last deal. He signed a 2-year deal during the season last year. He said he wants to finish his career in New Orleans. You never know, dude. It's business. It's business for sure, but I kind of think he's too New Orleans would be my guess. But, when you're this bad and you're rebuilding and you got a running back who's in the late 20s, that's not part of the rebuilding phase. So it would make sense. I have zero faith in Tyler Shuck as well. I think it's going to – and the Saints' biggest NFL line of the year, Buffalo 16.5 at home over New Orleans, and I definitely see why.
Yep. I see y'all in chat now. We're good
Let's
to go.
fire away, yeah.
Something was going on with YouTube. It was a little bit delayed getting going, but everything looks like it's up and running finally. So we're rolling on YouTube once again. Shout out to the chat. I see y'all over there. If you got anything to say,
I would have said Moody. I want to mention this. Like I said, we had the luckiest fantasy win maybe ever last night. We're in this huge, and the only reason I bring it up is we're in this just giant because nobody cares about your fantasy team thing. But we're in a $50,000 buy-in league, like a Bitcoin league that we're transparency. Moody and I don't have $50K to put it up, but we have investors that put us in it, and we get a piece of it. And we were up by 7 points going into Monday Night Football to try to get to 2-1, and we were against Jamison Williams in a full-point PPR. He has 2 catches for 42 yards in the first 11 minutes of the game. And I'm just like, okay, we're dead. And then he goes no catches the rest of the way, and we win by 0.9 to get to 2-1. So massive. You can't even, just I'm shocked we're 2-1. I'm seriously.
The irony is Mintz and I are split in 2 teams. We have Javonte Williams in one league. We lost by 1 point. We won by 1 point in our massive league. So I was obviously cheering for the 50K league. That one's a huge
the other league's
league.
$300. The other league's $300.
Yeah, obviously cheering for the 50K. Totally okay with falling to 2-1 in the other league. So, but we're 2-1 in both leagues. That's a good thing. That was one of the craziest sweats I've ever had last night, Mintzy. Just knowing that he caught those first 2 balls on that drive, I was sure that he was going to get at least.
Oh, they were they were probably 90.
So sure.
They were probably 95% to win in the first quarter.
Yep. Yeah, and then he somehow didn't, and we snuck our way out of there. Talk about just by the skin of our teeth. So we're 2-1 now. We got a bright future there, especially with Judkins taking over in Cleveland. We need him to not get suspended, which I don't think he's going to. And then we get Rashee Rice back, and we're going to be looking pretty good. I think we're a playoff team.
Yeah, I'm super, super, super pumped about that, to say the least. Also, shout out Tyquan Thornton. I do those long shot parlays that I share on my Twitter, and Moody does them too, so follow us both. But the first 2 weeks, the first Thursday night game, I had a 13-1 lose by 1 Saquon Barkley receiving yard when I needed 25, and he got 24. And then the next week on the Sunday night Bills-Ravens game, I lost by 27 to 1 by 2 Dalton Kincaid yards when I needed 50, and he got 48. And I hadn't hit a big one yet this year. And then thank God to Tyquan Thornton. I did Giants under 41.5, Thornton touchdown, and Thornton over 60 yards at 28 to 1 Sunday night. Thornton scores in the third quarter. Mahomes took like 4 deep shots to him. None of them hit. And then he catches like a 21-yarder to get to 38 in the fourth. And the under looked great the whole way. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be because I thought the Giants' offense weren't going to score against the Chiefs. And it was the over-under I thought was way inflated because of the 37-34 Dallas game. And then they chunk a bomb to Thornton who like catches it. And I'm celebrating. And I realized he dropped it on the replay. They would have hit it. And I was like, again, I'm snake bit. I can't win. And the next play, Mahomes just uncorks another bomb to him, and he makes like a spectacular catch on the 1-yard line. And I hit 28 to 1. So we're up on the parlays this year now. The beauty of it, my strategy is different than everybody else's. I'm firing 20-something to 1s, 30, 40 to 1s, these bombs. Like all my coworkers who do a great job, and I'm not throwing shade at them, they do these 4 or 5 to 1s. And yeah, those may hit more. But, man, when you're doing these 28 to 1s, you just hit one, and now I'm up 11 units for the year. It's a strategy thing, and, I'm going to keep them coming. Last night I wasn't even close, but whatever. But either way, we'll keep them coming for the primetime games. Moody's also posted a ton of picks with our good friends at DraftKings.
Yeah. Z-Jack says the Thornton was a crazy pull. If you listened last week, I told you the number one pickup in fantasy was Tyquan Thornton. Mintz listened to me. He put that parlay together. I'm going to give you this one for this week. Jalen Tolbert. I don't think he's going to have quite the impact as Tyquan Thornton by any means, but there's a pretty good chance Tolbert is available out there in your leagues. He had a really good target share in the second half after CD Lamb left. He's not going to have the long-term value potentially that Tyquan Thornton looks like he's grabbing for the next 3 or 4 weeks. But while CD Lamb is out, Tolbert has legitimate value. So I gave you Thornton last week. I'm giving you Tolbert this week. If you need a piece for your team, look at Jalen Tolbert.
Well, I got to give a shout-out to Jalen Tolbert, too, because while we're on the parlay stories, last year, Moody, I hit my biggest one of the year was the Sunday night when the Cowboys beat the Steelers on that 4th down when Tolbert caught that touchdown late at the game. Do you remember that game?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I had a plus 67.50 hit that was like Tolbert over 80 and a touchdown and a bunch of other stuff. And I hit it on that 4th down touchdown, but I hit a 67, almost 68 to 1 parlay off him. So I got love for Tolbert. He's done it before. Also look out for Kevontae Turpin because I think they're going to manufacture touches for him, especially on the turf in Dallas because he's such a game breaker.
Yeah, Turpin's the speed guy. Tolbert is a better receiver. He has a better.
No doubt. No, Turpin, you're running into
range.
jet sweeps, screens, a couple bombs, but he's not like a natural receiver. They're just going to try to get him the ball, is my thought.
We got some people in the chat talking about their fantasy teams. Z-Jack said he won by 1 because of the Derrick Henry fumble.
Wow.
What about Derrick Henry? 3 straight games with fumbles. He's been great. I mean, outside of week 2 he wasn't great, but weeks 1 and weeks 3 putting together pretty good games with those fumbles, costing you probably more in real life than in fantasy. But damn, what is up with Derrick Henry and the fumbles, man?
Well, I thought Aiden Hutchinson the other ones may have been on him. I thought Aiden Hutchinson just made an unbelievable play punching that ball. I mean, and I know that's Henry's fault because ultimately it's a game, but I thought that was almost more credit to Hutchinson. I thought that play was spectacular last night. And credit to Detroit. What a win. You get your ass beat at Green Bay, like horrible week 1 showing. Couldn't move the ball, couldn't block them. And then you bounce back by beating Chicago by like 52-21. And you go on the road on Monday night against a stout Baltimore team, and you come away with that 38-30 win. And not just you win, but the Ravens, if you know anything about them, they always have a stout run defense because they're big up front. 230 yards rushing. Nobody does that to Baltimore. And people beat Baltimore. It's like 4th quarter, their pass rush gets tired, you can get them in the secondary. Nobody runs it down their throat like that. I mean, that was a huge, huge statement win. And Monroe St. Brown's just, on fire. I mean, just the kid, that 4th down play, that perfect throw by Goff. David Montgomery reminding everybody last night it's not just Jahmyr Gibbs in that backfield. But, man, you look at what people were freaking out about Detroit after week 1, no Ben Johnson. Man, you got to give them a shit ton of credit for that effort last night. They showed you get that win, you're 2-1. I mean, ain't no joke. They're probably the favorite in the NFC North again.
Yeah, I would think so. The, they're going to be right there with Green Bay. It'll be curious to see how those two teams match up down the stretch. They may not care about your fantasy team anywhere else, but we care about it here on Wake Up Mintzy. Lightseeker says, I'm a genius for drafting Cam Scatabo and Hunter Henry, but I'm an idiot for sitting them on my bench. Still won his matchup, but talk about two guys that had great weeks last week. Hunter Henry, 2 touchdowns. I mean, he was the clear-cut number one target for Drake May in that game, and now Cam Scatabo showing why he was highly touted in the draft, especially with Tracy being out of there. I think this is Scadaboo's backfield moving forward. Tyrone Tracy is not giving them much at all, even when he's healthy. This is Scadaboo's backfield moving forward. So shout out to Lightseeker. He's got two good guys there that'll really help his team out.
Yeah, Scadaboo also is great catching the ball. You know, he's a guy that
Mm-hmm.
he's going to get the goal line carries. He's going to run. He's going to catch it. He's like a triple threat. And he had 135 total yards on Sunday night, which is impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Dart's running ability, you know, we've seen when the Dart comes in, they've been running those read options, and Scadaboo's busted some of them. Just the threat of Dart running, whereas Russ is older now and can't, I think that's going to help Scadaboo too. So I'm big on Scadaboo going forward, especially if he's like, you know, if he's your number 3 running back in fantasy, you start on bye weeks or you're back, that's a great situation.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Staples said he made $100 live betting last night. Bravo, sir. Bravo. One other person I do want to mention from the NFL this week, Quinshon Judkins. I mean, I hyped him up over and over and over on here, and he finally paid off this week. He carried the Browns to that win. Him and their defense, obviously blocking the kick at the end of the game was massive and everything. But Quinshon Judkins just looks like the truth mints. I mean, this
Yep.
kid has got. He's great between the tackles. He can bust it outside. He's got legitimate speed. He runs hard. He's the best running back in this class. Jackson Dart's the best quarterback. Quinshon Judkins is the best running back, and they're about to prove it to people.
Yeah, the Quinshon thing too, talking a little more about it, he's made for that AFC North because he's a just physical between the tackles back and these cold weather. That's the most that's that division. I mean, with Baltimore and Pittsburgh, granted Cincinnati may not count on this, but like those games are a different animal up in that weather, man. That's the black. They used to call the NFC North the black and blue division, but it's really that AFC North. I mean, all those games are rivalry games. They're all hard hitting. But Judkins is made for it, and he's going to be the guy going forward. And shout out Moody because, I mean, you got him at the end of the drafts for $1 because he was dealing with the domestic, you know, the issue he had. And he's already seized his backfield in week 3 at 16 fantasy points this week. I believe he had 10 the week before. And going forward, really, really excited about him. Love that.
He's going to be the piece. He may end up being the biggest workhorse of any running back in the NFL moving forward because they don't really have their offense sucks. I mean, it really does. They're going to need to run the football, play defense, run the football. I think Judkins is a stud moving forward. Trey Tucker thoughts. Left Trey Tucker on my bench this week in our league we were talking about. 40 points from Trey Tucker. He's not going to have another game like that this season, but he is a piece that you need to have. I mean, look, the Raiders can't run the damn football. They can't. Ashton Genty, while he has talent, their offensive line sucks. Geno's going to have to air it out a lot. Their defense sucks. They're going to be behind a lot. That's great news for Trey Tucker. I think he has legitimate value moving forward. Obviously, Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers are still there. But Trey Tucker, they're manufacturing him touches. They're throwing him screens. They're getting him the football. Kid looks legitimate. Could possibly be the breakout receiver that people are looking for this year.
Yeah, and then also on the Geno front, Geno throws for a ton of yards all the time. He threw for 363 week 1 against New England. I know he struggled against the Chargers, but, you know, somebody's got to get these yards. And they got Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, and Brock Bowers. So, I think, you know, as a number 3 receiver, you know, he'll definitely be starting in our league now over Kayshon Boutte, who's fallen off. But
Yeah, and look, Booty had a really good snap count this week. They just didn't target him very much. He's going to still be fine moving forward, I think. We'll see. But I'm a little more bullish on Trey Tucker now than I am Kayshon Boutte, so we'll see how that goes. Our boy Raciti, who's always in the chat, says, I remember when Mintz couldn't tap his head and rub his stomach at the same time. Get it? That's a better effort. I like it. All right. Maybe Mintz has been working on that. You walk in his apartment, and he's just in the bathroom, just
yeah, it's Jinx at the yoga. You know, I'm more in tune with my body.
Lightseeker says my newest fantasy dilemma is Brock Bowers versus Chicago or Hunter Henry versus Carolina. I think it's got to be Brock Bowers
Yeah,
still.
you can't. I
And
mean, he's number one tight end. You can't. That's overthinking it. I mean,
yeah,
and
yeah.
also maybe you can get Henry in at a flex if you have flex options.
Shadizzle says so. One unit for Mincy is $10, and that was a bonus bet too. That was probably because some of the bets have a maximum you can bet of $10. That's one thing people need to take in consideration when they see a bonus bet, is because DraftKings caps some of these at $10, and then you ultimately get a $10 bonus bet back. So I think people should be aware of that.
Oh yeah, look, I don't care. People can throw shade at me for betting small. That's the beauty of parlays is, you can fire $10 or $20 and win 400 or 500. I mean, that's
Yep.
great. And then there's never been a better time than with DraftKings right now for this stuff because they've got boosts all the time. They got the no sweat touchdown bets. They got, I mean, hell yeah, there ain't no shade in that. And I bet, and I'll be transparent with everybody. Whatever I bet, like my straight bets, I bet 50 a unit. So when I give out my
Yeah.
picks, my bets, I bet 50 a unit, and then my 2 unit games are 100. That's what it is. So
90% of people, their unit is $50 or $100. You have and look, there's a lot of people out there, and I'll tell you this. I had a guy that follows my home run props. He was betting like 50 cents and a dollar. I guarantee you he's sweating that out more than Portnoy, who's betting $100,000 on a game. Like, I'm not one to unit shame by any means, because I think that the people that are not betting as much are sweating their games out more because they need it more. So, shout out to the people that bet small, because
I
your
also,
bets matter too, man. They matter
well,
too.
also gamble responsibly, man. Like the way I look at it, and I feel like I know more than most on football, but I'm not going to act like I can beat it for a living. That'd be a lie. Like I do it for entertainment. And when I make a
Yep.
$50 bet on a game and I lose it, it's like, okay, that's what I would have spent on dinner or a concert ticket, and I was entertained for 3 hours. That's how I look at it.
Yep.
And I love the
And
small
you and
part.
well,
I
you and I
love
are
the
also parlay betters, so we will
Yeah, well,
take
no,
some
and I love
$20
the 10. I
parlays to
do
make
those
it grand.
$10, $20 parlays. Like, man,
Mhm.
I mean, that Jalen Tolbert one I mentioned was 10 to win 675. Like, what's wrong with that? I don't see.
Staples says Hubbard over Josh Jacobs. Probably Josh Jacobs for me still.
Yeah, well, I will say New England, for all their faults this year, the run defenses look pretty good, and the pass defense has been bad. Jacobs against this Cowboy, you can't sit anybody against Dallas right now. I mean,
Yep, I agree.
I'm going Jacobs just because that. I mean, they're just so bad on defense. It's crazy.
Z-Jack, is it time to bench Brian Thomas Jr.? I say no. I actually think if you don't own Brian Thomas Jr., I would be buying low on Brian Thomas Jr. right now. He's someone that I think is incredibly talented still. I understand they've had some problems offensively. Trevor Lawrence, who I thought was going to have a big year, has not looked great. Give it a little bit of time. This is still a new offense. Brian Thomas, I think, will be perfectly fine. Keep him in your lineup. And look, if he has another couple bad weeks, then maybe you reconsider that. But right now, Brian Thomas is starting if I have him.
Yeah, and he's a guy I'd be. We almost traded for him in that league,
Yep.
because
Yep.
I agree. I agree. Look, and he caught a 40. Look, I know he hadn't done much the last 2 games, but he caught a 40-yarder that won that game, that set up that field goal late, or set up the touchdown late when Etienne got the touchdown. But he caught that key 40-yarder. So I mean, I don't know. I think it's just 2 weeks in, man. I don't know. I mean, I would be more worried about like Justin Jefferson because the quarterback thing, and obviously Chase and Higgins with what they're doing in Cincinnati. But you still got Trevor Lawrence there. He's just got a new offense and a new system in. I mean, I think Thomas would be a trade target right now.
I actually think Brian Thomas would probably be at the very top of my buy low targets. And look, and if you're playing fantasy, this is the time of the year where you target those 0 and 3 and 1 and 2 teams that might be concerned about where they're at moving forward. You offer them a bench piece or two for a legitimate starter so that they can have more depth. Like, this is the time to target bad teams with decent players and try and get a piece that can help you win in the playoffs. So keep that in mind. One thing you should be doing, checking out the teams at the bottom of your league that might have pieces to move, especially if you have depth. You have depth on your bench, you have a couple pieces to move. Time to do it. I think this week, next week, this is when teams are going to start getting desperate.
All right, I want to. If you got any more fantasy or NFL questions, fire them away. Any other? Do you have any other big NFL? I mean, I had to shout out Detroit because I think that was the biggest statement of the week.
Yeah.
And then, I'm curious going forward. Chiefs Ravens next week. I wonder if I think Worthy's probably gonna be out again, But watching that pretty close because Tyquan Thornton's so tied into getting those deep balls. Um, but yeah, that's kind of most of what I got on the National Football League. I don't know how the Niners are 3-0 with how beat up they are. They got terrible. Nick Bosa's out for the year now. That's terrible news for them.
Because that is a winning franchise. They've got a hell of a head coach. They had a serviceable backup. They've lived through Christian McCaffrey. Look, for everybody that was scared about McCaffrey coming into this season, he has been a fantasy star. He's put up what 20 plus every week. He's getting a ton of catches. He looks like Christian McCaffrey. He doesn't have quite the burst that we've seen from him, but they're still giving him plenty of usage. The fact that Jordan Mason's not there is just massive for him. B Rob's not really cutting into his usage very much. Like, obviously, McCaffrey is an injury risk. You're going to run that risk all season, but he's looked incredible. And that's just a winning franchise, man. So, like, that is a team that knows how to win, and it starts with their head coach and their GM.
No doubt about it. Shanahan and Lynch, the best to do it. Well, also, while we got you here, anybody that's got any other NFL or college questions, fire away. We love interacting with the chat.
Yeah.
I want to touch on.
We have one here. We can move on to something else in a minute, but
Let's get
Z
them
Jack
all.
was saying any other buy low targets that we are interested in at the moment.
Tom, so the Jefferson thing's so weird. I think Wentz is going to be competent, but they were winning so bad. He had 5 for 75, which I think is fine. I know some people may be panicking on him right now. That one's interesting. Let's see what I'm trying to think. Any other you got?
I'll tell you a couple. What I might try and do if these teams don't have depth or they're towards the bottom, I would make a run at CD Lamb and Mike Evans because now you're gonna have to sit them on your bench. They're injured. I totally get that. In order for this to be a strategy for you, you need to be 2-1 or 3-0. You need to have a player that you can play as well. But I would be potentially looking to try and acquire one of those guys from a desperate team who needs them out there because those are pieces that can win you a championship down the line. So I actually am going to try our other league that we have. I'm going to try and put together something for CD because we have a ton of depth. I mean, we're crazy deep in that other league, and so I'm thinking about trying to piece together like Jacoby Myers and something for CD Lamb because I would love to have Lamb down the stretch. So that's one strategy. As far as guys that are underproducing at the moment, Brian Thomas sticks out to me the most. Um, Kenneth Walker, maybe if you could get somebody to let him go. I don't think they will, but maybe you could pull that off. Brock Bowers is another one that maybe somebody is not getting the production that they thought they were going to get from Brock Bowers to this point, and they might be needing a tight end. If you have a David Njoku or something along those lines, and you throw in a running back or wide receiver that can help them out, you might be able to steal Brock Bowers right now too. So those are a couple guys that come to my mind. Obviously, I don't think trading for mid-tier guys is worth your hassle, but if you can get a legitimately productive top-end guy at a reasonable price, this is the time to take those shots.
All right. Well, also we got you here, Moody, because we've been going all football. Major League Baseball down to the wire here. We got about 6 games left in the season. I'm taking a look. We got some wild card. There's some stuff going on here. Running through it, the Blue Jays have a 2-game lead over the Yankees, trying to pull out that AL East. Detroit has just melted down the stretch. They only have a 1-game lead over Cleveland now. I actually told Tate when they were 3.5 back before the weekend, Cleveland was 7-1 to win that division. I told Tate to take them, and now it's near. Now that all the value's gone. Seattle 3-game lead over Houston. Your Rangers, man, got swept by the Astros and Marlins. They had it right
Too
there
many
in front
injuries.
of them. Yeah.
This no Seager, no Simeon. The injuries hit at the worst possible time for the Rangers, and it all fell apart. I mean, they had a chance with like 3 weeks to go. The Rangers had a legitimate chance to make a run, and it fell apart because of injuries. And then you're asking these young guys to produce who were doing it for a little bit, and just not enough. And it's a really disappointing season for the Rangers because the pitching staff was so damn good for a huge portion of the year. I'm still bullish on the Rangers. But this is disappointing to see Seattle getting better, Houston still there in a playoff spot. It certainly does suck as a Rangers fan.
There's not like the wild card race in the AL seems kind of decided. Like Cleveland, Boston, Houston, and Yankee. The loser Blue Jays Yankees are going to be the 4.
Yeah, I mean, well, you have I mean, the Rangers are 5 back. It's pretty much over at this point, unless things just go completely off the rails for the Guardians or the Astros. I mean, which I don't think is going to happen. Obviously, the most important thing to pay attention to in the AL at this point is whether or not the Guardians can run down the Tigers. The Tigers have really struggled down the stretch. The Guardians are the hottest team in baseball. I think the Tigers are the better team, but damn, it's getting close.
Then Scooble got a little banged up. How's his injury thing doing? Because I know he
Well,
pitched with it, but he
I'll be
didn't look the
honest.
same.
No, I really haven't looked too close on Scuba lately since fantasy baseball season has ended. But it's a it's a question. They need him to be 100% in the playoffs. He's a guaranteed win whenever he's on, and like the rest of their pitching staff, it's serviceable for sure. But damn, they need him to be a guaranteed win in the playoffs. If for some reason he's not 100% or he's getting hit hard, that's a massive thing. One thing we definitely have to mention in Major League Baseball: the Reds and the Mets
Oh
down
yeah,
the stretch tied for the final spot in the National League wild card. The Mets have fallen apart. The Reds are getting hot at the right time. The Reds now own the tiebreaker. So the Reds essentially have their own destiny in their hands. The way the Mets are reeling wouldn't surprise me if Cincinnati somehow gets in. I don't think Cincinnati's a real threat. I love Ellie De La Cruz. I'm a Reds fan, to be honest with you, just because I like a lot of their players. But while I think they might be able to hold the Mets off down the stretch, I think the Mets would be a better team to get in the playoffs because the Mets could reset. The Mets would probably be a more of a threat in the National League.
and then the Diamondbacks are only one back too, Moody, of them two.
Yeah, which what's crazy to think about, had they not traded away Naylor or Eugenio Suarez, like where would they be? Would they potentially have won two more games and be in a wild card spot right now? So Major League Baseball is so interesting because the trade deadline is at the perfect time of year where these teams have to make these really difficult decisions, and ultimately it can either win you or lose you your season. I don't think the Diamondbacks get in, but I mean, look, there's what, 6 games left. There's a chance.
Yeah, well, Stu Finer going to Cubs Mets tonight at Wrigley. I thought I was going for second, but I'm no longer going. Bummer.
Speaking of Stu Finer, Staples said last week with Stu was great, fellas. We were trying to have Stu on again today. Ultimately, didn't work out. We will have Stu more
Oh
often,
yeah,
though.
oh yeah, no doubt about it. Stu, close friend of the program. But yeah, that's also tonight. Barstool After Dark. They got a big crew playing Clue. They've set up the whole basketball court as like a Clue thing, and like it's Rico's the feature, and like they're reacting off his stuff. I used to love Clue when I was a kid. I thought it was a great game, so I'm very interested in tonight's After Dark. Bunch of good people
Yeah,
involved in it.
you got to give them credit. They've come up with some really
Dude,
neat
After
stuff.
Dark
I'm a
crushes.
big Tate fan.
Dude,
I
I
know a
am
lot of
too.
people kind of throw shade, but I like Tate a
Well,
lot.
dude, next week, Tim Moody, did you see what next week's After Dark is?
I hadn't looked.
It's me trying to find my way out of the world's largest corn maze.
That's right. Yeah,
And I'm going to be handcuffed to Tate with a flashlight.
Aren't you
Like-
blindfolded or something, or he's
Like
blindfolded?
he's blindfolded. Dude, we could be out there until the end of time.
Oh, but that I would be willing to take a bet that that'll be the longest After Dark that Tate has ever done. I think you guys are in trouble, man.
I have a lot of concerns.
Back to the chat in college football. Hammer Oregon money line or no?
I'd lean it. I mean, it's a cross country game. Penn State will have a great home field advantage, but 3.5. I mean, the money line's like plus 160, 180. I mean, I lean taking it. I don't know if I'd hammer it. Penn State will have a great home field advantage, but Penn State hadn't looked the best so far this year. They've also played nobody, so it's kind of hard to read. Oregon's looked dominant so far.
But they haven't played anybody. And
no,
look, I spent a lot of time in Oregon. I've seen this movie with them before, where
they're
they look
vulnerable
really
on
good
the
early in
road.
the
They're
season.
vulnerable on the road too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd lean Oregon money line small, but Oregon's one of those teams, man. They beat people by 180 when they play them at home. But if you're going to catch them, you got to catch them on the road.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I cheer for Oregon a lot. I spent a lot of time in Eugene, covered the Ducks. I was there whenever Justin Herbert was there, interviewed him a few times. Mario Cristobal, like it was but I watched them fold in some really big spots at home and on the road. That's a team that is a lot of fun to watch, but they do worry me sometimes. The Guap Gitta says Rams are winning the Super Bowl. You heard it here first.
But look, I can't believe I didn't mention that. Rams plus 3.5 was the toughest gambling beat I've taken in 10 years. I mean, unbelievable to have it the whole way. They're up 19, And the only way they could lose when they line up for that field goal is if Philly blocks it and runs it back for a touchdown last play of the game. I mean, that was literally unbelievable to lose that. But yeah, I mean, I've talked about liking the Rams 22-1 before the year. I mean, I'm huge on them. I still am. I don't think that loss kills them at all. They're 2-1. I love their pass rush. Their defense is underrated. They got a good running game. They got good balance. Devontae Adams finally caught a long touchdown too. And if
That's
he can
back-to-back weeks with a long touchdown.
yeah, but if he can, giving Puka some help, I mean, I'm huge. The thing with the Rams is just can Stafford stay healthy the whole year? That's the key.
Yep. He did get hit hard one time and got up kind of holding his back. I was really concerned for a moment. I will say one of my favorite bets of this week is the Rams -3.5 against the Colts. I know the Colts are playing well. They look good. They're going to be on the road on the West Coast against a very good Rams defense. I think the Rams make it difficult for Daniel Jones. I realize Jonathan Taylor's been running all over the league at this point. The Rams just shut down Saquon Barkley for the most part, and Daniel Jones is not Jalen Hurts. So I love the Rams this week. It's one of my favorite bets of the entire week.
I like that. I could definitely see that. But yeah, a bunch of lines out. We'll be hitting those hard the rest of the week. There's some intriguing NFL games. Ravens 2.5 and KC's super interesting on Sunday as well. The Packers, the Micah Parsons return to Dallas. Looks like Jaden Daniels is trending toward playing with Washington being favored at Atlanta. Although,
yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, my biggest surprise of the week was the fact that the Panthers shut out anybody, much less the Falcons, because Bijan Robinson, I mean, he's a stud. He's got almost 400. He has 400 yards of total offense at this point. I mean, he's been a stud. They're doing a great job of engineering touches for him in different ways. I cannot believe the Falcons put up that kind of effort with Bijan Robinson on their team against Carolina. Biggest surprise of the season so far, in my personal opinion. Interesting game, though. I think even without Jaden Daniels playing, the Commanders are probably good enough to beat the Falcons if that same team shows up again.
Mariota used to play for Atlanta too, and his running ability, we saw it on Sunday. He's a perfect guy to have as a backup to put in a couple weeks. The thing with him, like, he always can't stay healthy if you start him long term, but man, the juice in his legs make him a good backup.
Speaking of that game, I have one more fantasy thing that we probably need to note. Chris Rodriguez started the game. He finished with 11 touches. He actually led the Commanders in touches in that game as far as running backs are concerned. McNichols broke off a long run. Bill looked pretty good once again. But Chris Rodriguez is a legitimate factor. He is, I guarantee you, on everybody's waiver wire this week. Scoop him up, put him on the bench. If either Bill, or Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt, or Jeremy McNichols goes down, I think Chris Rodriguez is going to get a ton of touches. He looked great. I mean, he looked really good. I think they expect to use him a lot moving forward. So he's another guy that you should probably have rostered at the back end of your bench if you have a spot right now.
All right. Well, tune in to Barstool After Dark tonight. Shout out Stell Blue and Dude Wipes as always, and Lane Kiffin, who gets we will continue to give the prime treatment for what he's doing for Ole Miss. Can't wait for this weekend, but we'll be back tomorrow. And shout out chat. Appreciate y'all interacting with the show. We're always here for you guys. I'm about to go exercise. Get my mind right.